Hi, Lisa Schermerhorn here, and I'm a mindset coach. And something that a lot of people don't know about is energy. I've actually studied energy medicine for 20 years, actually over that. And what most people don't understand is that our frequency, the way we are, is in essence energy. So for those of you who may not be familiar, Dr. David Hawkins, who's an MD and a PhD, created something called the map, or has the map of consciousness in his book. And what that means is the happier you are, the higher the frequency. Okay, so he starts out in something called despising, or that's the God view, or life view is miserable or shame. And with that, the number frequency is 20. Shame is the lowest. Then you have vindictive, evil, guilt, in that range is 30. Contemning, hopeless, apathy is 50. Disdainful, tragic, or grief is at 75. Fear is at 100. Desire is 125. Anger, vengeance, 150. Pride, indifferent, 175. And courage is 200. Now we start to go up the scale because courage is the center. Courage is that ability to either be a negative or above that. That's where we start to get into higher frequencies. So above that, neutrality, 250. Willingness, 310. Acceptance, 350. Wise, or being in reason, is 400. Being love is at 500. Peace is at 600. And enlightenment is 700 and above. So the reason why I'm talking about this is, what is the frequency that you put out? When you're at fear, that's low. Fear, let me check that again, is at 100. Love is at 500. So when you're that far apart, that's the energy you're putting out. And I know that a lot of people are going through a hard time. I am myself. I'm dealing with a lot of fear right now. And in that fear, what I've been doing is releasing and releasing. And what I'm releasing is my shadow. So all those fears and all of those voices in my head that tell me that I can't do this, or when anything that's negative that's trying to tear me down, that's my shadow. So what I do is, and I invite that shadow in, and then I look at, what is this telling me? Because these voices, this shadow is giving me information. It's telling me about me. So most people, when the shadow comes up, will go, no, 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 I want to suppress it. You don't want to suppress it. What you want to do is invite it in, look at it. Where did this come from? Why is it here? How can I heal it? Now, in healing it, it's releasing. It's honoring it and thanking it, and now let it go. So I do something called the emotional release method, or you might have heard of the EFT, emotional freedom technique, which is a tapping. So I use the emotional freedom technique or the emotional release method. So the emotional release method is really simple. So I bring up whatever that fearful thing that's coming to me. I feel it in my body, and I'm like, oh, it's in my heart right now. And from 0 to 10, it's probably at about a 4. So now I'm going to release it, and we store this on a cellular level. So I'm going to now say to myself, should I let it go? Yes. Could I let it go? Yes. When? Now. And as I do that, I'm releasing it. And so I keep doing rounds until I get to neutral. The idea is that we want to process it because it's a younger part of us that stored this information. And we want to raise our frequency, our vibration to a higher level. When we release that fear, we can raise our frequency and vibration. And I'll never forget, this was a story of working with a client who had been working with another person who was able to actually measure their frequency. So when they came to me, their frequency was at 400. After the session, he went back and had someone measure their frequency again, and it had gone up 100 points to 500 to love. So we have the ability to influence our energy, influence what we attract, influence all of these things that are impacting us, because it's an inside job. Do we need help with people who are experienced with this? Yes, but ultimately we need to go inside. We need to see, what is that shadow saying to us? And then we take that shadow and we release it and let it go to allow your energy to get higher. Because the higher your frequency is, the higher the frequency people and circumstances you're going to start to attract in your life. So when you get rid of fear and you shift the way you see the world, and you no longer see it from a fearful place, but you see it from a loving place, or you see it from an abundant place, and that's what you put out to the world, that's what you're going to attract. So I invite you to look at that shadow. What is that part of you saying to you? That's what's left. That's that little girl or little boy who's having these conversations with you and saying, you're not good enough. You don't have enough information. I can't trust the people out there to understand what I'm saying, or I'm afraid to be vulnerable. All of those things are being put out there by you. And so what happens when you put that message out? That's what you get back. You already have everything you need to achieve your goals. You're already there. What you need to do is release the roadblocks. So I want you to imagine a highway with a giant boulder, and the destination is on the other side of that boulder. Guess who's put that boulder there? You. The idea is, let's remove that boulder. Let's take that boulder out of the way, raise your frequency, and allow you to do what you are meant to do in this life. So many people are frightened right now. So many people are dealing with a lot, and a lot of depression I'm hearing from people as well. We want to raise your frequency. We want to raise the way you see the world. If you're interested in doing more, please message me. I would love to help you.